They told you that knowledge is power, but they lied. Because if that were true, the most educated people would be the most successful. The people with the most degrees would have the most wealth. The ones who spend the most time reading would be the ones leading. But you know that's not how it works. You've seen the smartest people you know get stuck, fall behind, work for people who barely graduated. So let's stop pretending. Knowledge is not power, not by itself, only applied. Specialized knowledge is power. And what I'm about to show you will make that clear. Because once you understand how specialized knowledge actually works, you'll stop drowning in information. You'll stop thinking you need to know everything. And you'll start doing what the top 1% do. You'll focus. You'll narrow in. You'll build something that makes you unshakable. Because that's what specialized knowledge does. It gives you leverage in a world full of noise. It turns you into the go-to person when a specific problem needs to be solved. It separates you from the masses who are always learning, but never using. Always reading, but never building. Always preparing, but never moving. And in a moment, I'm going to show you exactly how to find that kind of knowledge inside yourself. The kind that you already have. The kind that's buried under distractions, doubts, and other people's opinions. But first, I need you to understand the trap. Because this is where most people get stuck. They confuse consuming information with becoming valuable. They think being smart is the same as being successful. And so they spend years collecting random knowledge, reading 50 books a year, listening to every lecture, taking every course they can get their hands on. But they never ask the one question that actually matters. What am I using this for? Because general knowledge is not power, it's potential. And potential without purpose, it's a prison. So if you want to rise above the noise, if you want to stop being a consumer and start being a creator, if you want to stop watching others succeed with half the knowledge you have, then listen closely. Because the next few minutes might be the turning point you didn't know you needed. Specialized knowledge is not just what you know. It's what you can do with what you know. It's what happens when you stop learning everything and start mastering something. It's not about memorizing facts or being able to impress people at dinner parties. It's not about trivia. It's not about titles. It's about this. You have a skill, a method, a way of solving a problem that makes you useful, valuable, irreplaceable. That's what the market rewards, not general knowledge, specific value. Let me say that again, specific value. Because people aren't looking for someone who knows a little about a lot. They're looking for someone who knows how to fix their pain, not someone who studied it, someone who solves it, someone who understands the problem deeply from every angle, someone who's been there, figured it out, and can now help others through it. And that kind of knowledge, you can't fake it. You can't copy it from someone else. You have to earn it. You have to live it. You have to make it yours. And when you do, you no longer chase success. You become the person success is drawn to. You become magnetic, because now you're not just informed, you're impactful. You're not just smart, you're sharp. You're not just watching others move, you're moving people. That is the difference. And here's the key. You don't need to know everything to be powerful. You need to know one thing deeply enough to make a difference. Let the world chase more. You go deeper. Let the world stay surface. You go specific. Because the person who masters something, even one thing, becomes more valuable than the person who dabbles in everything. That's why people with less knowledge sometimes get more results. They picked their lane, they owned it, they stopped trying to impress everyone, and started serving someone. That's what specialized knowledge does. It gives you focus, it gives you clarity, and it gives you the kind of power that generalists will never have. Let me show you the difference. Because once you see this, you can't unsee it. There are two types of people in the world right now. Those who collect knowledge, and those who use it. Those who browse, and those who build. Those who dip their toes into every subject. And those who plant both feet in one mission and master it. And the results? They're night and day. The first group, they're constantly searching, constantly watching, constantly consuming the next thing, hoping it will finally click. They feel like they're doing something productive. But months pass, years pass, and nothing changes. Their life looks the same. They have all this knowledge, but no leverage. They know a lot, but can't point to anything they've created, solved, or built. Because the knowledge stayed in their head. It never made it into the world. Now look at the second group. They chose a direction. They picked a lane. And they started stacking reps in one focused area. At first, they weren't better than anyone else. But while the first group was starting and stopping, bouncing from topic to topic, the second group kept going. They studied, they practiced, they refined, they failed, they adjusted, they kept going. And over time, they became the person who knows how to do that thing better than anyone else around. They didn't chase every trend. They didn't try to be good at everything. They got good at something specific. And because of that, people trust them, people refer them, people pay them, because people can feel the difference between borrowed knowledge and embodied knowledge. They can tell when you've actually lived it, when you don't just know the answers, but you felt the problem in your bones. That's the kind of person people follow. That's the kind of person the market rewards. And here's what most don't realize. You don't need to be in the top 1% of everything. You just need to be in the top 1% of something. Something specific, something people care about, something they're willing to pay to solve. And you get there not by knowing more, but by going deeper. That's the difference. Most people skim, they dabble. They stay on the surface because it's safe. But the rewards are buried deep, and only the committed find them. So ask yourself, are you consuming to feel smart? Or are you building to be useful? Are you collecting more information? Or are you stacking depth? Because this is where the paths split. This is the point where you decide, do I want to be impressive or do I want to be impactful? Let me prove it to you. Let me show you what specialized knowledge looks like in the real world. Not in theory, in results. Let's start with Henry Ford. He built an empire. He revolutionized manufacturing. And he changed the way the world moved. But what most people don't know is that Ford wasn't highly educated. He didn't pretend to know everything. In fact, when he was once challenged in court by lawyers trying to make him look foolish, they asked him question after question, testing his historical knowledge, scientific facts, and general trivia. Ford smiled and said, "If I want to know the answer to any of those questions, I have a row of buttons on my desk, and I can press any one of them to summon the man who can give me the answer." That's specialized knowledge. It's not about knowing everything. It's about knowing how to get results in your domain and surrounding yourself with others who complete the puzzle. Ford understood his one thing: systems, process, production. He mastered how to simplify, how to create flow, and that one skill made him a billionaire. That is the power of specialized knowledge. It multiplies you. It turns you from interchangeable to irreplaceable. Now let's talk about what's really going on in your mind. Because if specialized knowledge is so powerful, why don't more people pursue it? Why don't more people choose depth? The answer is simple. Your brain is wired for comfort, and mastery is uncomfortable. See, general knowledge feels good. It gives you a quick hit of certainty. You read a few articles, you finish a podcast, you watch a video and feel like you've made progress. But inside, you haven't changed. You've just scratched the surface of 10 things instead of going deep on one, and your brain likes that. Because going deep means facing the truth, that you don't know yet, that you're behind, that you might fail. Going deep requires discomfort. It requires repetition, not novelty. And your brain hates repetition. It craves variety. New things, exciting things, shiny things. But variety is the enemy of mastery, because the brain has to make choices. Every time you switch focus, you reset your momentum. Every time you chase something new, you dilute the progress you were already making. This is what kills most potential. Not lack of knowledge, but lack of focus. And that's not just a habit. It's a hardwired survival mechanism. See, your brain evolved to scan the environment for threats, to stay alert, to stay reactive. And that worked fine when you were running from predators. But in today's world, that same survival software keeps you from getting anywhere. You switch tasks. You jump from one project to another. You tell yourself, I'll get back to it tomorrow. But tomorrow turns into never, because you're stuck in a loop of input without integration, of collecting without committing. And here's the dangerous part. The more you do that, the more you train your brain to stay surface level. You create a feedback loop. Your brain says, this feels good, this feels productive, let's keep bouncing. And without even realizing it, you become a professional consumer, but not a creator, not a leader, not a specialist. That's the trap. Now let me show you the way out. You have to retrain the brain. And it starts with one word: deliberate. You have to become deliberate with what you learn, with how you learn, with why you learn. No more passive reading, no more random info binging. You choose the lane. You stay in the lane. You tell your brain, this is the one thing I care about. This is the one thing I'm building. And this is where I'm putting my attention. And yes, it will feel boring at first. Yes, it will feel slow. Yes, you'll be tempted to pivot. But that tension, that resistance, it's proof that you're rewiring, that you're breaking the addiction to novelty and building the muscle of depth. And over time, your brain adapts. What once felt slow starts to feel strong. What once felt repetitive starts to feel powerful. And what once seemed impossible starts to feel inevitable. Because now you're working with your mind, not against it. And that's when you'll notice something strange. You'll look back at your old self, the one who jumped around, and you won't even recognize that version of you. You'll wonder how you ever settled for scattered knowledge, because now you feel the difference. You feel the clarity, the certainty, the confidence that comes from truly knowing something, from owning your voice, from being the one others turn to. Not because you sound smart, but because you've done the work. That shift, that rewiring, it begins the moment you choose to go deep. And every time you sit down to study your craft, every time you repeat a process, every time you say no to something shiny and yes to something hard, you are strengthening the identity of someone who masters. Not someone who knows a little about everything, but someone who leads in one thing. Because in the end, depth wins. And now that you understand how your mind resists it, you're ready to push through. Not just mentally, but biologically. You're not just choosing focus, you're evolving into it. And the world notices. You've seen the difference. You understand the trap. You've felt the pull to go deeper. Now the question is, how? How do you take the knowledge inside you and sharpen it into a weapon? How do you turn your experience, your obsession, your curiosity into something powerful, useful, and undeniable? Let me show you. Not with vague advice, but with a real repeatable system. A path you can follow, a process you can practice. Because specialized knowledge is not something you either have or don't. It's something you build. And it starts with step one. Step one, define your arena. You cannot master what you do not choose, so choose. Pick a lane, pick a skill, a space, a problem worth solving. Don't wait for the perfect thing. Pick something real, something relevant, something you're already drawn to. Ask yourself, what am I curious about? What do people ask me about? What do I enjoy learning about, even when there's no reward? That's your signal. Don't chase what's trending. Chase what's true, your truth. Pick your arena and own it. Step two, set your standard. Mastery is not built on casual intention. It's built on clear commitment. You must decide what great looks like. Not vague, not fuzzy, specific. What does someone at the top of your chosen field actually do differently? How do they think? How do they speak? What do they know? What do they ship? What do they measure? Set the standard so high it makes you stretch. Then commit to it. Step three, curate your inputs. Delete distraction, unsubscribe from everything that doesn't feed your mission. Stop learning everything. Start learning only what builds your blade. Books, mentors, courses, conversations. Each one should have a purpose. If it doesn't move you forward, cut it. If it doesn't make your edge sharper, ignore it. Because this is how most people lose. They study more than they apply. You will not make that mistake. You will not drown in information. You will sip it slowly, and then you will move. Step four, block sacred time. Not when I feel like it time. Sacred, non-negotiable. Put it on your calendar. Treat it like a meeting with your future self. 1 hour a day, that's all it takes. 1 hour where you study, apply, or reflect. Real reps, real writing, real speaking, real building, real action. 1 hour a day for a year will change your life forever. Step five, document your lessons. Because learning without capture is like pouring water through a sieve. Every time you read something, write a one-line takeaway. Every time you apply something, record the result. Build your own playbook, not someone else's, yours. Because the more you document, the more you internalize. And the more you internalize, the more you own what you know. Step six, teach it. Don't wait until you're an expert. Teach what you just learned. Because when you explain it, you understand it. When you simplify it, well, you master it. Start small. Write a thread, record a voice note, create a video, help one person. And here's the magic. As you teach, people begin to see you as the person who knows, even while you're still learning. That feedback loop, that's what accelerates your identity shift. And step seven, apply, apply, apply. Nothing matters more than implementation. Nothing. You don't need 10 more books. You need to execute on what you already know. That's what makes the difference. Not the depth of your bookshelf, the depth of your results. So take action fast, even when it's messy, even when it's imperfect, especially then. Because clarity comes through movement, confidence comes through motion, and momentum, that's how your knowledge becomes influence. Let me make this plain. You will not get there by watching. You will get there by doing. Every day, small steps, deliberate choices, tactical reps. And over time, you will wake up one day and realize you're not trying to become the person. You are the person. You're not guessing anymore. You're not copying anymore. You're leading because you've built your own expertise from the inside out, and now the world can feel it. Now let's talk about what's going to try to stop you, because it's not just distraction out there, it's resistance in here. In your mind, in your emotions, in your habits. So let's put it on the table. Let's name the enemies so they lose their grip. The first one, I'm not an expert yet. You'll say this to yourself the moment you try to speak, build, or teach. You'll feel like a fraud. You'll worry someone's going to call you out. And so you hold back, you wait, you stall. But here's the truth. Every expert you admire started with zero credibility, zero certainty, zero credentials. They just started anyway. They spoke anyway. They showed up before they felt ready. And that's what made them ready. Expertise isn't granted. It's claimed, then earned in public, not behind closed doors. So if you're waiting to feel worthy, you'll never move. Go now. Let the world watch you grow. That's how they'll trust you later. The second obstacle, but there are already so many people doing this? Yes. And most of them are doing it half-hearted, half-prepared, half-alive, and none of them are you, because nobody has your voice, your story, your lens, your lived experience. You could say the exact same thing as someone else, and it would land differently coming from you, because people don't just buy knowledge, they buy resonance, they buy connection. They follow people who speak in a way that wakes something up inside them. And you can't do that by copying. You do it by showing up as you. So stop trying to be first. Be real, be present, be clear. That's how you rise. The third obstacle, perfectionism. You'll think you need to get it just right. The perfect plan, the perfect brand, the perfect delivery. But here's the trap. Perfection is the language of fear in disguise. It's how the ego stays safe. Because if it's never done, it can never be judged. But done is how you grow. Done is how you improve. Done is how you build momentum. So let go of perfect. Embrace progress. Move with what you have. And let reality shape the rest. The fourth trap, looking sideways. You will be tempted to compare, to watch what others are doing, to measure your progress against someone else's highlight reel. But that's a losing game. Because you don't see their timeline. You don't see their failures. You don't see the hours they put in before anyone knew their name. You only see the result, so you question your own. Don't. Keep your eyes forward. Your path is yours. Stay in your lane until the world sees it as a highway. And finally, the fifth obstacle, waiting. You'll say, I'll start when I feel more confident. I'll share when I know more. I'll commit once things settle down. But here's the truth. There is no perfect moment. There is no guaranteed sign. There is only now. Now is the moment you build the foundation. Now is the moment you pick your lane. Now is the moment you take the first step. Not when you feel ready. When you decide. That's the real shift. When you stop asking for permission and give yourself one clear command, go. So now you know the difference between knowledge and power. You know that consuming more won't change your life, but committing to mastery will. You know that most people stay on the surface, but you're going deeper. You're choosing a lane. You're sharpening your mind like a blade. And while the rest of the world plays, you're stacking skill. You're building value. You're becoming someone people can count on. Because specialized knowledge, it's not just about money. It's about identity. It's about becoming the kind of person who knows who they are, what they're here to do, and how to do it better than anyone else around them. That's what makes you magnetic. That's what makes you irreplaceable. And it starts with a single decision. I will master something. Say it again, out loud, right now. I will master something. Because generalists are everywhere. But the one who goes deep, the one who owns their message, the one who shows up with clarity, certainty, and skill, they rise every time. So from this day forward, you stop collecting, and you start building. You stop browsing, and you start committing. You stop hesitating, and you start leading. Because the only difference between those who are respected and those who are overlooked is that the respected ones specialized. They chose depth, they chose excellence, they chose purpose. And now it's your turn. Pick the thing, block the time, repeat the reps, teach the lessons, and share what you know until the world listens. Because when you master your mind, when you sharpen your skill, when you go deep where others stay surface, You don't just change your income, you change your identity. And when that happens, the world has no choice but to respond, because mastery is magnetic. And now, it's yours to build.